Right then, lads, welcome back to Cossy's Arsenal podcast. My name is Cossy. We are back again and we are live once again. We've come a little bit early at 4:45, and the reason is, it's very easy. I've come at 4:45 because this is the time YouTube is showing me that you people are actually on at always between 4 and 6, so we'll be doing it at 4:45 until probably 6 probably. So we're gonna be speaking about a couple of things in this edition. Make sure you are very comfortable. Aaron Ramsdale has actually won Player of the Month at Arsenal. There are so many players that could have won that, by the way. There are so many players that could have won that. And we're going to try to dive into a simple debate. Is Aaron Ramsdale your player of the month? Personally, I got no problems with that. I got no problems with Aaron Ramsdale being player of the month at Arsenal. He is player of the month. Did he deserve it? Do you think, probably Emile Smith-Rowe was better? Because I think Smith-Rowe actually, scored 3 goals in that month in 3 consecutive games. And one of the goals actually gave us 3 points. And that was against Watford, so probably he deserved the crown of player of the month. But look, there were so many players. Actually, I think as a unit, we did very well. So we're gonna try to dive into that talk. Frank Kessie, has been linked with Arsenal, for a January transfer window again. Another player who's struggling to continue, his contract with AC Milan. Look, I don't know why Milan are so bad at keeping their players and extending their contracts. They're just like Arsenal. Think about Hakan Çalhanoğlu. Now think about Stephen Kessie. Look, Milan really lose players. They always lose players. So I won't be really surprised if they lose another player. And of course, least but not the least, we will talk about Arsene Wenger coming back to Arsenal, and Lorenzo Insigne and Emile Smith-Rowe being called up and joining the English national team right about now. So make sure you smash a like on the video. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Let's get the party right about now started. Yes, all right then, lads. Thanks everybody for joining the party. Let's get our party started. And we will start from Aaron Ramsdale. We'll start with Aaron Ramsdale being called, of course, he was called up for the English national duty, but that is not the talking point. The talking point is that Aaron Ramsdale has actually won Player of the Month at Arsenal. And look, this is humiliating. This is embarrassing. I still remember when I did a story about Aaron Ramsdale being world class in the Leicester City game. People did come out and attacked me and said, "Because you never wanted Ramsdale, you wanted Andre Onana." And I'm gonna say this: yes, I wanted Onana, and I still rate Andre Onana very much. Look, there was nothing much I knew about Aaron Ramsdale. And I'm going to say this, I was wrong about Aaron Ramsdale. And so are many Arsenal fans on Twitter, on Facebook, on YouTube, on LinkedIn, wherever platform you were using. And you said Ramsdale is not good enough. Ramsdale is not the player that should be playing with Arsenal or playing at Arsenal. You are absolutely wrong. Now, Ramsdale, in the past month, he's played 4 games. He's made 17 saves in that 1 month. He has an 85% save percentage. He's kept 2 clean sheets in those 4 games, and he has actually conceded 3 goals only in 4 games. Now, let's see those games. Let us look, because for me, there is a big debate whether Ramsdale has been the best player at Arsenal in that month. Right? There's a very big debate. And whoever, because he won the vote by 60%. That means it wasn't a tight call. But for me, if I'm going to analyze players and how they performed, in that, in the recent month, that was October. I'm really going to say it was a very tight call. So which games did we have in October, guys? Let's go through them. This month we've only played one game. I think that was against Watford. Only one game. So in October you had Leicester City, a very difficult win, and I think that's the reason as to why Ramsdale has one player of the month, because he kept us in that game. He kept us very, very alive in the Leicester City game. And look, I think he won us 3 points. I'm gonna say that. Yes, he won the clean sheet for himself and the team as well, but he won the 3 points for Arsenal. The James Maddison free kick, that one's going in. Look, you don't make saves like that, and I've said that on a couple of occasions, and I've said that on so many, on so many occasions. You don't make saves like that. You just don't make saves like that. And Ramsdale, for me, making that save, I don't know how he does it. I don't know how he does it. Maybe it's the goalkeeping coach. Maybe there is, some. I don't know. I don't know, because you don't make saves like that. And legends like David Seaman and legends like James Lehman coming out and saying that that is one of the best saves they've seen in a decade, in a very, very long time, because a decade is 10 years. And look, I think I've seen good saves from David De Gea and Yano Black, but I've seen character from from Aaron Ramsdale in that game. I saw a lot of character. That save against Leicester City is the diamond of a save, is $1 million save, because I don't know how he gets to that. Because look, I've been in simple matches where I've been a goalkeeper, and they're saves you don't make, right? They're saves you don't make. He's not earning 300,000 a week like David De Gea. He's not earning $500,000. I don't know, the passion he does. He just doesn't want to concede. That is the thing. He just doesn't want to concede. Because for me, that save against James Maddison is a brilliant save. He has to make around 3-4 footsteps before then going into into the air, and he times it so well. It's a very, very strong hand, to keep the ball, out of the line, punches it on the crossbar, and the rest is absolute history. And I still feel like Mikel Arteta didn't give him the respect he deserved in press conference, because he said what mattered to him was the fact that the ball was cleared by Thomas Partey off the line. Yes, the ball was cleared off the line, but I think for me the hard work was done by Aaron Ramsdale, getting that ball off the line. Look, it was a fantastic set. So Ramsdale being voted player of the month. He has a clean sheet against Leicester City. That is one of the reasons. He has a clean sheet against Brighton, I think, as well. Yeah, he has a clean sheet against Brighton. He conceded against Crystal Palace, and he also conceded against Aston Villa. For Aston Villa, I don't blame him. I don't blame him for the goals. I think definitely, we shouldn't consider against Aston Villa, because that goal, by Ramsey, it's a super goal. It's a very great goal, and I think the goalkeeper has nothing to do about it. But I think it was just a switch off from the defense. If you don't switch off in that moment, I think Arsenal would have gone in that game, would have gone through that game, with a clean sheet. But just to put that behind us, maybe the Crystal Palace game. Look, that goal from Christian Benteke, I think he doesn't do anything about it. Benteke does well to look for the bottom corner, so he doesn't really do anything about that. Maybe you can think about the second goal from Elton Edward. Maybe he should have positioned himself better. Maybe it was a little bit wrong game reading and anything, but that doesn't take away anything from his season so far, and from his month. He's been absolutely on top as a goalkeeper, and I'm really going to talk about what he's actually brought to the table for Arsenal. But let us first talk about the other players that I think should have been voted for Player of the Month. ESR, come on, guys. ESR this season is a star. We know he's that sparkling diamond. But even away from that, I think ESR deserves more respect than he's getting from Arsenal and from the footballing community and the footballing world. In that month, he scored 2 goals. One against Aston Villa. Of course, anyone is going to say that Aston Villa goal, really it was a deflection and anything like that. But for me, the fact that he's in that area, the fact that he has added more goals to his game, and the fact that he's now trying to play more positively and create more chances for the team, the fact that he's winning us points individually as a player, because you'll think about the Brighton game where he was completely anonymous. You'll think about the Crystal Palace game where I think he was so good. You'll think about the you think about that Aston Villa performance. He gets to score, which I think is also very, very good. And you think about the Leicester City game, where I think the goal he scores. Of course, he replicates it over the weekend. He replicated it over the weekend, and I think I would still take the Leicester City goal because that one is he's spot on. He knows where he wants to put that ball, and it just falls so nicely on his feet. And he knows where he wants to put it, and he actually puts it there. So I'll go with the Leicester City goal. Look, 2 goals for him in that month. Look, I would have given it to him. I think we are excited about Ramsdale. But player of the month, yes, Ramsdale is good. But ESR for me stood out as well. Really, really stood out. So I wouldn't have been disappointed if it went to Ramsdale. I'm not really disappointed. But if the trophy had gone to ESR, I wouldn't have been disappointed, really. I wouldn't have been. I mean, I'll be a liar to say, "Oh, I'm disappointed because Ramsdale has won it." And if it had gone to ESR, I wouldn't be disappointed, really. I wouldn't be disappointed at all. Something goes to our centre back partnership. The clean sheets that we kept in October, they're actually courtesy of the they're courtesy of our centre back, of our centre backs, especially Ben White. And look, there are only 2 centre backs. I'm not going to say especially Ben White and Gabriel, but among the 2, I really struggle to understand who's been better. Has it been has it been Gabriel? Has it been Ben White? I think with Ben White, one thing you're gonna give him, you're gonna give to him is the fact that he takes extra curriculum activities. He takes extra responsibilities to drive the ball to the midfield and ensure that Arsenal really have a positive way, at progressing football. I think that is one of the things I like about him. With Gabriel, he has done everything a defender should do this season. In that month, by the way, look, I'm quite disappointed that he doesn't really get to be acknowledged as he should be, because he scored the first goal against Leicester City. I think it deserves some respect. And if you look at the games that we played in October, 4 games in October, Brighton, they're not so lethal at going forward. So probably, but it wasn't a holiday. It wasn't really holiday because look, they have Leandro Trossard, and we know how deadly he is for Brighton. And they had the ball almost all the time in that game, so we were always on our tenterhooks. We needed to be on our best defensive discipline, and I think Gabriel is one of the players that have really brought organization to Arsenal, especially in defense. He doesn't really move a lot. He only comes up front when it's a dead ball situation. I think he deserves respect in that Brighton game. Aston Villa, not really, but still think about it. The Aston Villa duo, Danny Ings. We know what Danny Ings can do if he faces very, very poor defenders, and obviously Oli Watkins. So probably to keep them out, to keep them silent, you give the centre back partnership some credit in the Aston Villa game. Leicester City, yes, Aaron Ramsdale was a star. He won us the game, but for me, that doesn't take away the fact that Vada was silent. And Vada is never silent. Madison is never silent. Kelechi Iheanacho is never silent. And when they brought on Patson Daka, I thought, yeah, maybe the game is gonna change, but it didn't. We actually contained them. So, look, it's been a very, very good performance. Very, very good performances this by Gabriel and Ben White. And I think if the performances continue, my player of the month this month, is going to be Gabriel. Already kept a clean sheet against Watford. There wasn't a lot to be troubled with. But I'm gonna say that if you have 1 or 2 players that are doing well, or more than 2 players that are doing well in a squad, you're really going to have success. And I think our success this month and the past 2 months has actually not come from 1 or 2 players. It has actually come from a unit, and that's why I think unless a player really stands out, it's always going to be very hard for for Arsenal to choose a player of the month. But for me, Ramsdale, I'm okay with him. I'm really, really okay with him. And look, Thomas Partey as well. Partey has had a very, very good month. He scored his first goal for Arsenal. In that month, that goal came against Aston Villa, and it was a header. Surprisingly, he has had more shots on goal, and actually better shots on goal in that month. And I think he's actually helped us move forward and things like that. Lokonga has also had a very good month. Nuno Tavares stepping in for Kian Tierney. Has it been 3 games? 3 games now ever since he stepped in for Kian Tierney, because I think Tierney got that injury. Was it against Leicester City? I think it was against Leicester City. I mean, no, not Leicester, really. I think it's not Leicester. Which game does he actually get that? Is it? I think it's Aston Villa. Yeah, it's Aston Villa on Friday. The game we played on Friday is Aston Villa, and I think since then it's either Aston Villa or Crystal Palace. I really don't remember. But since then, I think Nuno Tavares has been a very, very good player. But it doesn't call him for to be call for him to be player of the month. Player of the month, I think it should be 3 players. Ramsdale, who won it, ESR, who scored many goals, actually more goals in that month, and was a little bit brilliant. And I think Gabriel. I think those 3 are my best players of the month. Of course, you can let me know who was your player of the month in that month, and I'll be very, very glad to to take that in. Christopher says it's either Ramsdale or Smith Rowe. I cannot disagree with that, really. I really can't disagree with that. And then Blocker says, thanks for the update. Thank you so much for tuning in as well. Right. So player of the month, that is the talk around it. I think, we are progressing, really. We have made progress. In August, it was, you couldn't really say the same story. Played 3 games, lost all of them, didn't score a goal. We had -9 goal difference at the moment. I think we have 0 goals, right? So we have paid all the debts we had in terms of goals conceded, and we are actually moving, forward better and better. So apart from that, I think Ramsdale, congratulations. That's what you have to say. He's been outstanding, really. He's been really, really outstanding. Maybe one thing we can say about Ramsdale is the fact that I think ever since he came in, he's been one of the top 3 best players per game, per 90. Look, I'm gonna say that. Apart from games where I thought we were dominant, that is Watford, but the rest of the games, Leicester City, one of the best 3 players. Brighton, one of the best 3 players in that game. Crystal Palace, still, look, he's been one of the top 3 players, per 90. And maybe the fact that he's playing, for a bigger team, the fact that he's, from relegation to a bigger stage, you've got to give it to him. And he's got for England, by the way. He's got his England call-up. I think 1 or 2 games, he'll be given, a chance to showcase his talent. He's very, very charismatic. I think Arsenal get that a lot from him. He's very, very charismatic. He speaks a lot. He communicates a lot. He doesn't love to lose games, and that's why I think that's one of the characters you want in that Arsenal side. So Ramsdale, man of the match. Big up and congratulations, as well. Now, switching over to the most interesting part of the video, which is transfers. We have been linked with a couple of players from Italy, and I don't understand whether it is our scouts from Italy that are doing it, or it is the fact that the Italian Serie A is actually becoming better and better. By the way, just to put this point across, there's one thing I've realized about Italian Serie A these days. It's more goals than less, as compared to the recent years. Because for me, the Italian Serie A is and the Italian brand of football is known for having good defenses and good defenders. That is what we know. Yes, when it comes to Italian football, you're gonna have good defenders, you're gonna have good defenses, you're gonna have less goals. But I think it's a little bit different now. It's a little bit different. Look, you have the likes of Atalanta scoring goals for fun. You have AC Milan scoring goals for fun. You have Juve conceding goals for fun. You have Inter Milan. I think they really score goals this season. I think Napoli do score as well. And apart from Roma, I don't think Roma are really scoring many goals, but they do concede as well. Which other team is really scoring goals for fun in Italy? I think those are the clubs that I've been following. So it's really interesting. It's really interesting, and I'm going to say surprisingly, I have watched no game. I've watched no game in the German Bundesliga this season, and I've watched more games in the Italian Serie A. Of course, the reason is constant because I have a Showmax subscription, and it really doesn't give me German Bundesliga. It gives me La Liga, Italian Serie A, and the Premier League. And maybe that's the reason. But I feel like there is more entertainment in the Italian Serie A as compared to the entertainment that there was two to 10 years ago, or 2 to 5 years ago, really. And I think the quality is also improving. Fiorentina, AC Milan, Napoli, there is a little bit more of competitiveness. They're actually doing it. So maybe. And now, we've been linked with 3 players, actually 4 players now, in the Italian Serie A. Number one is Stefan Kessie. Oh, sorry, Frank Kessie. I don't know why I call him Stephen Kessie. Frank Kessie, Ivorian midfielder at AC Milan. His contract is running down in the summer, and Arsenal want to take advantage of the situation. The other is Andrea Bellotti, striker. Again, contract running down in the summer. Arsenal would love to take advantage of the situation. And Lorenzo Insigne playing at Napoli. I still remember, I think Lorenzo Insigne is one of those players that have been on Arsenal's radar ever since Arsene Wenger. Because I think since Wenger, we wanted Insigne a lot. He's exciting to watch. Very, very exciting as a player. And I think he will actually add something that Arsenal do not have: the speed on the wings and goals from wider areas, because he really, really does that. If you've not watched him, make sure you do check out the Italian games this international break. You'll be able to watch him. I think it's shirt number 10. I think he was a shirt number 10 on Italy. So look, we've been linked with 3 of them. One of them, let us start with Frank Kessie. Now we know. Look, these links coming from so many sources, and for so many reasons. One, I do understand that we need a midfielder. We will need a midfielder in the summer, in the long run, and of course in the short run. But also, I think agents of these players are trying to pull strings, because they're trying to join the dots, they're trying to add the dots, and they're trying to say, okay, how can we make our players marketable? And they're looking at Arsenal, because at the moment, look, if I was an agent, I would link my midfielder to Arsenal and Manchester United. And guess what? Frank Kessie has been linked to Arsenal and Manchester United, because United know. Everyone knows that United fans and the footballing world knows that the 2 midfielders playing for Manchester United, in the pivot, that is Scott McTominay and Fred, are absolutely not good enough. So maybe they're taking advantage of that. And then the other thing is Arsenal. Partey is going out, in January. Xhaka is injured. You want to take advantage of that. So Kessie has refused to sign a new contract with Milan. I don't get it. Milan are in the title race. They are in the Champions League. They have higher chances of going back to the Champions League than Arsenal or than any other team. So, but look, they have high chances of going back to the Champions League next season. I don't know why he doesn't just sign. I don't know why he doesn't just sign. But it's something that happened with the Hakan Çalhanoğlu. He also refused to sign a new contract with AC Milan, and he went to Inter, on a free deal. I think it was such a waste for AC Milan because he was actually really doing well. But with Kessie, let's talk about Arsenal and be very, very optimistic with Frank Kessie. Very good player, world-class midfielder. Very, very good midfielder, world-class player. I think one of the very, very hard-working midfielders that you can ever think about in European football. Very hard-working, very talented, very good, very, very good. Actually, I think as we struggle to find a Thomas Xhaka, a Granit Xhaka replacement, if Kessie joined Arsenal, that would be the end of that. Look, there are not so many players that I really fancy to play next to Thomas Partey, because for me to play next to Thomas Partey, you need to have some qualities like that really stand out, because Partey is an overall midfielder. He can be that 8, he can be that 6, he can be hybrid in those roles, and that is, I think it makes it easy and very hard at the same time to play next to Thomas Partey, because look, if you are a player like Albasam Lokonga, patient, disciplined, and you're that guy that was born to be a 6, you can clearly be very, very good with next to Thomas Partey, because all you have to do is get the ball and pass it on, right? And Partey will do his thing. And we look for the long passes, we look for the short passes, we look for the breakthroughs, we look for the pockets of space to press the ball in and things like that. And I'm really, really, really excited to have the best of Thomas Partey at Arsenal. So if you're like Albasam Lokonga, yeah, you do it well. If you're like Xhaka, you might play with them, but the team might not get the best of you too. Because look, I feel like Partey can be a defensive midfielder, but with a player like Granit Xhaka, who's also kind of a hybrid, it doesn't make a lot of sense. I think to play with Thomas Partey alongside Thomas Partey in the midfield, you need to be very, very decisive. Look at Saul Niguez when they played together at Atletico Madrid. So for me, Saul Niguez, and the reason for me I feel like he's gonna struggle at Chelsea. What he does is already done by Kovacic and Jorginho, right? That role. When they played together with Thomas Partey at Atletico Madrid, you had the wise man, Saul Niguez. He had the liberty to go up front, create chances, score goals, and I think that is the role that all of us really did admire with Saul Niguez. That deep lying midfielder that has the license, the permission to go ahead and do whatever thing he wants on the ball, with the ball all the time. Coming at Chelsea, I don't think he has that license. I don't think he has the license. You have Mateo Kovacic, he's the wise man of the midfield. You have Mason Mount, of course, we know what he provides with to Chelsea. You have Jorginho, who, look, however much people don't want to say he's world class, I think he's good at what he does, and he's one of the best players that do what he does. Get the ball, distribute it. That's what he does. Get the ball, distribute it. And I think he does it well for Italy. He does it well for Chelsea, and it's one of the reasons that's why they are where they are. As one of those non-negotiables that should speak volumes about what Jorginho gives Chelsea. Because look, Kante is being dropped these days, not because he's not good enough, but because of the competition in the squad. Kovacic could be dropped at times. Saul Niguez is not even playing. So if you look at the amount of quality Chelsea have, and the fact that Jorginho makes it game in, game out. I still remember we were linked with Jorginho. Was it last summer, but one? And I said, no, I wouldn't take Jorginho. He's not good enough. And I was wrong. It's another decision that I made out of, because he's a Chelsea player, and why is he not really playing, regularly for Chelsea, things like that. But I think he's very, very good as a player. So to put into context, guys, Frank Kessie would do well for with Thomas Partey. In my case, one, he loves moving the ball very, very fast, and it's one of those players that are really, really hardworking. So I think what we would have is would have two similar, very, very similar players. Because for me, Kessie and Thomas Partey, what's the difference? Kessie is not a 10. However much he loves those decorated fancy moves in progressive areas, in high areas of the pitch, but he's not a 10. He's that kind of player that is gonna receive the ball again and pass it on, move it. He's gonna make successful dribbles, and he's a very, very, very hard midfielder. He has the ball, you don't take it away. Same as Thomas Partey. His passing, his passing is absolutely elite, and he has that vision, right, for runs. So it will, it would help us actually. What I think with Thomas Partey and Kessie is we'll have more passes or balls over the top. Which is something good over the top for either Nuno or ESR or I wanted to say Kian Tierney, not really Tomiyasu, because Tomiyasu doesn't really make the runs really, but or Saka actually, and Saka. So we would have more balls over the top over the top, and we would win more balls in in the midfield if we didn't have possession. That is one thing that I'm looking at with that partnership. You're looking at two players because for me they are so similar. They're very, very similar. We'll do a show about Kessie and Partey and how they fit together and probably what Kessie brings on the table. But I feel like they're very, very similar, but they can play together. You know those two players that are very, very similar. Like, look, I think you could play Paul Pogba with Donny van der Beek in the same team, right? Yeah, it's a little bit, you would be a little bit skeptical, right? Because if you lose the ball, who wins it back, you have a problem there. But I feel like if you're playing a team like Watford, that is at the end of the day going to leave all the possession to you, I can play Pogba and Van der Beek together and I win a game. I can play Partey and Pogba together in a highly competitive game and win a game. Right, I can play because both of them are going to love to come into advanced areas, but Pogba would be a little bit more advanced than Partey. So I'll play them in the same team, and I would win a game. Kessie and Partey, the similarities, the differences, I don't think, because look, they're very hardworking. They don't fear, and they're not lazy. They don't fear to throw themselves into tackles, right? And they're not afraid of releasing balls, those through balls and balls over the top. So for me, they are similar. Because Kessie is not that kind of number 6 that is just going to sit back and wait for the king to take the ball up front. He's going to pick the ball up and he's going to drive it himself. Partey as well. When he picks up the ball in deeper areas, he's going to dribble at least past the center line and then release the ball either over the top or whichever he wants to do it, because he does it well. So very similar, but I think they can play together because I always say that partnerships are all about compromise, right? Last season we did see Gabriel dribble a lot, loving those balls, driving the ball to the middle of the park and then releasing it from there. This season he's not doing it, and the reason he's not doing it is because there is someone better at doing it, and that is and that is Ben White. So look, I still feel like if Kessie can compromise, or if Partey can compromise, if one of them can compromise, they can play together. Look, I would love your thoughts on this. I would love your thoughts on this because it's a very, very controversial topic. Two players that are similar playing together. It's the same thing we talked about ball playing center backs. You remember in the summer when we talked about I think there was a meme going on Twitter of a manager celebrating and then coming down. You remember, I think most of you know that, are familiar with that meme. And the reason as why that meme was actually attached to the center back partnership between Gabriel and Ben White was both of them are ball playing center back. So they, the argument behind it was that Arsenal have signed 2 top class young talented center backs, but both of them are ball playing center backs. That means both of them will be actually going up front, and that means you're going to play a very, very dangerous, deadly high line. It's not happening. It's not happening. Actually, if I look at all the goals we have conceded, how many goals have we conceded out of counterattacks? Let me count. The ball that Albert Lokonga dropped against Crystal Palace, that was, and I still don't believe that is because of the high line. I feel like if Ben White gets to close the space against Elton Edward, and Elton Edward doesn't take the shot that early, right? If Elton Edward doesn't take the shot that early, if Ben White could have delayed Elton Edward's shot by 3 more seconds, we could have covered up. The Thomas Partey era, that is not a high line. That is not because he loses the ball. He loses the ball almost close to our penalty area, not penalty area, but to our 18 years box. So that isn't a high line. And I still think that if Gabriel closed on Christian Benteke again by 2 seconds, we could have done better in that situation. Which other goal have we conceded this season? Let me see. Aston Villa, maybe the Aston Villa got the Ramsdale goal, because Ramsdale actually puts that ball away at just at the edge of our box. So that's not a high line. So we've not been affected by the two players being both playing centre backs. We've actually not been affected, right? We've not been affected by any, by any of that. And the big reason that I think we've not been, been affected is compromise. Partnerships are about compromise, right? If Ben White is better at going forward and Gabriel can stay back, Gabriel stays back, and they're really doing it, very very well. They're winning area balls together. I think with ground duels, I think it is still Gabriel that is better in winning ground duels, and I'm just loving the fact that Ben White has actually improved, on his aerial ability. Very, very, he's really improved, really improved, and it's one of the things you're gonna love about him. He's really improved in his aerial ability. And the last thing that I think you're going to admire between the two, and probably can be used with Frank Kessie and Thomas Partey, is the fact to cover for each other's back. They really do it. Yeah, at times Gabriel is not there, and you find it's Ben White, and at times you find Ben White is not there, and you find Gabriel is actually covering. So I wouldn't have a problem both of them playing, in the same team, Kessie and Partey. In the long run, I think it would actually work out. Two players, maybe it would hurt our creativity? I don't know, because for me, I love flashy eights. I love those players that are really flashy. The likes of Santi Cazorla, the likes of Jack Wilshere. I love those kinds of eights. I love those players whose role is to create more chances and goal scoring opportunities. I don't care about defending as long as we have a six. But anyway, Frank Kessie linked with Arsenal. Now the other one at Napoli. But before we go away from Frank Kessie, I think the possibilities of us signing Kessie are very very minimal. I think it's one that would go to, how is it called? Would go to the bar, right? Would go to to the bar line. Because look, I don't think Milan are going to let go of Frank Kessie in a season where they are optimistic they are going to make it to the top two or even win a title. Now, to win a title, I will need 20 games to be convinced that Milan can win a title this season. But so far, so good. They have already, done well. I think they have collected 31 points this season already. 31 points out of possible 33. Am I right? I think I'm right. And they joined top with Napoli in the Italian Serie A. Let me just look at the standings. Again, I just want to be very very sure. Right. So in their last 5 games, they've actually won 4 and drawn 1. That is in their last 5 games. They have actually collected 32 points in their last this season. They have they're leading the table with Napoli. Napoli is actually in position 1 because Napoli have scored more goals, and actually Napoli has conceded less goals as compared to Milan. Milan have scored 26 goals this season. 26 goals. Wow, that's interesting. And they have conceded 11, so they have conceded more goals. They literally concede a goal per game. I cannot really lie about that. I've watched them, and they really concede a lot. Napoli, on the other side, have scored 24 goals. That is 2 goals less than Milan. But can you come to think about it? They have actually conceded only 4 goals this season. Wow, that is pretty good. And in position 3 is Inter Milan. So you can see the gap between Milan, the two Milans, AC and Inter, is 7 points. 7 points. That means that if Milan lose the next 2 games, they are still in position 2, right? So it will take 3 games it will take 3 losses, consecutive losses actually, for Milan to lose their position to any team, whether be it Atalanta or Inter. Actually, if you look at Juve in the Italian Serie A at the moment, they only have 18 points. Oh, it's a shame, isn't it? It's really, really a big shame. But so look, my point, and going into this, detail is, I don't think they will try to lose their best players in January. If they're going to be like, look, let us repeat the Hakan Karanoglu scenario. Kessie, we have 6 months to convince Kessie to stay. If we can do it, between those 6 months, yes, we get it done. If we can't convince him in 150 days to stay at the club, well and good, let him go. So Frank Kessie, for me, he's not a possibility. He's not a possibility. He's out of the picture. Good player, but really, really out of the picture. Really out of the picture. But I would love to see him in Arsenal jersey. It would be really interesting too. Really, really interesting. Now, the other player is Lorenzo Insigne. Still talking about table leaders in the Italian Serie A. Now, Arsenal have been linked with Insigne, and I guess you've seen this not only today, or heard of this, or not only today, but on a couple of occasions. Even in the summer, we're linked with Lorenzo Insigne. Even during the Arsene Wenger time, we were linked with Lorenzo Insigne when he was actually just breaking out with the likes of, I think, Jose Mario Carrion, during that time. But one of the things I've loved about Lorenzo Insigne and his game is he's added goals to his game. A lot of goals, and he's one of those players that really have very, very, very good bananas and benders when it comes to scoring goals. And he would actually add a lot. January transfer window, forget it. Absolutely forget it. Yes, we would love him. Yes, he would add something. He would even make us title contenders. We can lie to ourselves in any way we want. But look, Napoli are not thinking about losing their best player, right? They're not thinking about losing their best player in a January transfer window in a season where their dream could finally come true. Because for me, in the past 5-6 years, it's been Napoli that have been pushing so hard to win the Scudetto over Juve, and it is really unfair that it is Inter that won the trophy last season. Look, it's not unfair because they put in a lot of investment. They brought in the likes of Hakimi. By then, they brought in the likes of Lautaro Martinez and Romelu Lukaku. They did very, very good investment. But come to think of it, the world is never fair. I mean, the world is never fair. I just think if the world is fair, Napoli should have a title, an Italian Serie A title, in the past half a decade. They should have it. So this season, they're looking at it as a dream come true. They're looking below them, and they're looking at a Milan, which could lose points at any time. Because for me, Milan's squad and consistency is yet to be proven. They're looking at an Inter Milan that is struggling. They're not really struggling, really, but they could struggle. They lost two of their best players last season, Hakimi and Romelu Lukaku, and I think Lukaku is actually affecting them. They still have a couple of players, the likes of Nico Barella, the likes of Lautaro Martinez. They brought in the likes of Correa. I think it's called. Is it called Angel Correa? It's not called Angel Correa. What's his name? That guy from Lazio, and he's really, really doing well, but. Napoli do feel. I think Napoli do have the authority and the permission to feel like they can win the title this year. If they look, for me, it's 12 games. If they can keep it, on top of the table for the next 8 games, right? I think they will grow in confidence. That would be, I think by January, right? Or by Christmas or Boxing Day, they will grow in confidence and they'll feel like they can win the title. Now, if that happens, you don't expect them to lose their players. Actually, Napoli do not have a reason to lose Lorenzo Insigne. They don't have a reason. Maybe he might want a different kind of challenge. Maybe he might want a bigger challenge. Players, they always do those things. They always come up with those with those kind of talks. I want a bigger challenge. I want to challenge, for bigger titles. I want to do this and that, and things like that. And look, it's not wrong from Insigne. He's 27, 28. He's looking at himself as a player who's gonna go down in history as one of those Italian players that were really talented. But he's gonna ask himself, what did I win? Right? What did I win? And it's gonna be, wow, you won nothing, right? You didn't get anything. And I think he doesn't really want that to happen to him. So to correct his legacy, he might want to join another club. Juve are broke; they would have taken him. They're like garbage collectors and a refinery of Italian talent, just like Bayern are with German talent. So he could think about. I still feel like he could be tempted to leave Napoli, but not in January. They have something going on. Not in the January transfer window. And then lastly, still talking about players in Italy, is Torino's Andrea Bellotti. I don't rate this guy, guys. I don't rate Andrea Bellotti, and I really struggle, to prove my point, because he's he's one of those young strikers. His face actually doesn't look young, but he's one of those young strikers that are actually proving a point in scoring goals, especially in the Italian Serie A. And I said it at the beginning of the video that Italian Serie A football is becoming more competitive or less competitive, because now the goals are more. I don't know if it is less competitive like the German Bundesliga, but I feel like there is now more quality and more entertainment there. And players are really scoring the goals. You have the likes of Belotti, the likes of Dusan Vlahovic, the likes of Lautaro Martinez scoring their goals, the likes of Federico Chiesa. Morata is a mess at Juve, but you have Dybala scoring goals for them, and a couple of other players. But with Belotti, again, his contract is running down. So I think all these players are being... Look, at 9 p.m. we'll dive deeper in Dusan Vlahovic, because there's so many contradicting reports, and that's why I've not tried to do that story right about now. There's so many contradicting reports about Vlahovic. One from Romano, who I trust, saying that at the moment the agent and the Arsenal side are not in talks. The other from Di Marzio, saying that the agent is actually trying to avoid us. Then you have reports from Charles Watts saying that he's not even a target for Arsenal, which I think is not true, because he was. It was reported in the summer that he was our target. Why didn't they come out to say that he was not a target? I don't disagree. I don't agree with that. I think that is PR from Arsenal trying to shed off these talks. Look, we'll talk about Dusan Vlahovic at 9 p.m. So make sure you do tune in. But with Belotti, Torino are in a very, very in a corner, very, very difficult situation. And I think if they're going to solve the puzzle, if they're going to find themselves, a better place, they need to decide: do they sell him in the January transfer window, or do they actually let him go in the summer on a free? Where can he go, Belotti? I think Juve will want him. I think Fiorentina, if they lose Dusan Vlahovic, they could take him. I feel like, look, I don't know. Yeah, maybe Inter, because Dzeko is older and getting older and older. Maybe Inter could actually look at him, and a couple of Premier League clubs, and maybe he could be open to Premier League. I don't rate him, and I've not seen. Thank God, I've not seen these links growing stronger and stronger. Being linked with Arsenal, we need a striker. He's young. Maybe he could be that kind of. I don't think he's that kind of striker. I would rather take Dominic Calvert-Lewin for 65 million than take Andrea Belotti for 35 million. I just don't believe in him. And that is really being that is me being really irrational, because I should be rational, but I just don't feel the vibe around him. I don't know. I could be wrong. But anyway, what is there to lose? If we can get him on a free in the summer, we could get him. Because for me, the good thing with our recruitment policy at the moment is we are attracting young players with a high ceiling and a big resale value. So what that helps you is that if you bring in a player like Belotti on a free, he doesn't work out, you sell him for 2 million. You have made a profit of you've made 100% profit, right? I'm joking, but look, if Belotti comes to Arsenal and it doesn't work out on a free, for example, in the summer, you can sell him for 10 million. There is no loss there. Even if it's players like Martin Odegaard and it doesn't work out, and you feel like it's not worked out, you could let him go to another club that needs him. you bought him for 30 million. You could get some 27 million. You could get some, or probably 31 or 32 million, because their resale value is still big, and they do have bigger ceilings. So with Belotti, I don't care. I really don't care about what happens with Belotti. I'm not a big fan. With Insigne, I'm a big fan. It will be interesting to see whether the links grow. With Kessie, I'm a big fan, and it will be interesting to see whether the links grow as well. Lastly, I'm going to get to your comments as well, but I would love to speak about Mikel Arteta's admiration of Wenger coming back at Arsenal and being a little bit more influential in the decision-making process. We're going to speak about that just a little bit. Okay, what are you people saying? Victor, you said Smith Rowe should have been Player of the Month. All right, and Blocker said Ramsdale, Player of the Month. All right, Ben, you said hi, Cossy. My Player of the Month is Ramsdale, and he deserves to be given goalkeeper. Shot number 1 at Arsenal, not Leno. Tony says Emile Smith Rowe Player of the Month. Kessie is a midfielder. Victor says Kessie is a midfielder or winger. I don't think you're gonna use him as a winger, really. I don't think. Michael said ESR Player of the Month. Jody says is Kessie's play style a bit like Pogba as well? Yeah, I mean exactly. Yeah, you put it right. You actually put it right. Oscar says, Cossy, when do you think Arsenal will go with an official bid to Vlahovic, and will we go for Guimaraes too? Oscar from Kenya. Oscar, I'm going to reply to that later on. Swalib says hi, Cossy. Thanks for the show. Thank you so much, Swalib. Wilfred says hi, Cossy. How are you doing? How are you doing, Wilfred? And then Ricky says hi, Cossy. If you play Partey and Kessie, then Odegaard will shine. Definitely, yeah, definitely, because they provide the cover. Matthew says thanks, Cossy, for the update. We need more. I will definitely give you. I think three shows daily are enough. 3 shows are enough for us to cover, because we have the morning show that covers all the news around the club in the morning. We have the afternoon show that covers all the news around the club in the afternoon, and we have the evening show that covers the evening. So I think 3 shows should actually do the trick. But look, let me first answer the question about Vlahovic, right? About Vlahovic and Bruno Guimaraes. Now, we wanted Bruno Guimaraes, and in the summer we were actually serious. We were very, very serious than we might be in January. But look, if you're talking about a January transfer window and you're talking about bringing in a player like Dusan Vlahovic, I think you might be more ambitious than a poor billionaire. Because I think Lyon this season, let's check with them, Lyon, right? Let's check with them. Where are they this season, and what are their ambitions? They are not actually represented in I think they are not represented anywhere in the Champions League. They missed out on Champions League, right? They missed out on Champions League. So this season, Lyon are 7th on the table. They have collected 19 points so far, right? But how many points are they from Champions League places? You have above them is Nice in the 3rd place with 23 points, and Marseille in 4th place with 23 points as well. So that means they're only 4 points behind their dream of the Champions League. So I think they will want to get Champions League. I think they have. I think they have financial problems. They lost. They lost Memphis Depay. I think it was very, very poor business. They lost Depay on a free deal. They could have sold him, in the summer prior to that summer, and it was very, very poor business. But look, to think about it, they're 4 points off top 4. They can still make it to top 4, and to do that, they will need their best players. They will need their best talent. So Bruno Guimaraes, Lucas Paqueta, untouchable at the moment. Maybe in the summer they'll think about selling some players to reinvest in their squad, to refinance and finance their plans. But at the moment, I don't see Bruno Guimaraes as a realistic target. Vlahovic, look, let's discuss Vlahovic at 9 p.m. because we need to get at the bottom of that. I think it's gonna be one show where we speak about one player. It should be Dusan Vlahovic, and you have a chance to call in and share your thoughts with me, guys, on Dusan Vlahovic and what you think should be the way forward. Okay. What else are you people saying? What are you people saying? Caleb, you're saying Ben White should be player of the month. I might not really disagree, but it was always going to be difficult. Honestly, it was always going to be difficult, and the reason that's why I think was always going to be I think it was always going to be difficult is because you have Smith Rowe, who did brilliantly well, and Ramsdale, who was also exceptional. Right, so it was always it was always going to be very, very, very difficult. But anyway, Arteta wants Wenger back. That should be the closing remark of this video because we've already streamed for 50 minutes. Right. So, Arsene Wenger had his Invisibles film. Many people feel like his book was a disappointment. Disappointment as a person because I've not read the book, and I promised to read the book. I think I should. I'm going to listen to it. I'm going to try to get the book in audio and listen to it and see what he talked about in that. So, but he made a film as well, and he was launching his film when a couple of concerned parties actually went to the premiere, and Arteta was, and he was asked about what he feels, about the distance, what he thinks about the distance between Arsene Wenger and the and Arsenal, because unlike Sir Alexander Chairman Ferguson, who is directly influencing things at Manchester United, including the fact that Solskjaer is still at the club, Wenger has kept himself far away, very, very distant from the club. And actually, he said that I think he did come out during his premiere, and he said that he would have preferred to leave Arsenal if he had left Arsenal in 2007 earlier than he did. Ridiculous, isn't it? Really, really ridiculous. We need you. I think 2007. Yeah, many fans wanted him out, but I think he was still doing a great job. In 2007. So Mikel had a couple of words to say about the ex big man, and this is what he said. Arteta, however, has now floated the idea of Wenger returning to Arsenal in some capacity after expressing a desire for the 72-year-old to become more present. Arteta said, "I think he set a different tone to the club, and there are things that are still there." Arteta told Sky Sports, "I would like to recover a lot of things that he did, and I would like him to be more present at the club. I think the players would love him. They will benefit. They will be inspired to have him around, and I think for the club it would be such a huge boost." Asked if that was an invitation to Wenger, Arteta said, "I always told him sometimes you need sometimes you need your time. It was not so intense. It was so intense, for him over the 20 years, and you need to get away for a little bit. But I think it would be so beneficial for all parties to have him more present at the club." Now, look, guys. Mikel is not wrong by saying that he would love he would love Arsene Wenger to be more involved with the with the decision-making processes at the club and things, and probably how things are running, at the club. In my personal opinion, look, I don't know. Him being close to us and being close to the club is very good. We know that. He has the experience. He would give, wise counsel, and a couple of other things, probably. And probably the biggest thing that we can get from Arsene Wenger is inspiration. Inspiration, right? Because this is a group of young players, under 23 players that really need a lot of inspiration to to fulfill their aspirations. But when I look at Chapman Ferguson blocking the sacking of Solskjaer, I get scared. Because look, the influence of Ferguson at Manchester United would be the same influence, or even better, that Arsene Wenger would have on Arsenal. So if he comes in just to direct and give us direction, I'm okay. If he comes in to ride to make to give us what we should do, I'm a little bit skeptical. But I would love to know from you guys: would you take Arsene Wenger, back at Arsenal in some sort of capacity? Would you, for example, as not as sporting director? Look, if he comes in as technical director, I'll be glad, because for me, Vinay and his footballing brain are a doubt, right? Arsene Wenger is currently working with FIFA, and he's one of those people who have actually turned themselves into fools by saying that we should have a World Cup per 2 years. A World Cup should happen per 2 years. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous, because that means more game time for players who are playing the Euros every 2 years. They're playing the AFCON. Is the AFCON every 4 years or every 2 years? I think every 2 years as well. And then you have the World Cup every 2 years. It would be ridiculous. It would be ridiculous, right? So I think, look, if Arsene Wenger comes back as technical director, right? Technical director. I think that is the role that Vina is CEO. Sorry, Vina is CEO. So if he comes back as CEO, I'm glad, right? I'm glad. If he comes back as CEO, I'm absolutely glad, because he's like an overseer of how training goes, of how things run at the club. He knows how to make money. He knows what kind of talent should be spotted. He knows the right talent. And look, these are different times when where you're going to point to a player. You're not going to, it's not a guarantee that you'll get every player. Just imagine if we had the same budget we had, we have at the moment. If we had that same budget when Arsene Wenger was our manager, when he wanted Ronaldo, when he wanted Zlatan Ibrahimovic, when he wanted Messi, when he wanted all those young players, it would have been easy for us to compete with the money powers then, who are not very strong at the time, and they were not very many. So what it would help us, for me, is we have taken this kind of direction where it is more of build talent to win titles in the future. And look, there is no better person than Arsene Wenger at that. That man there is good at sporting talent. We know that. Samuel Nasri, Cesc Fabregas, Alexander Sombilong, Alexander here, Hileb. What should I say? Those others were young players turned into very, very successful players. Thierry Henry, Anelka. So if we bring him as CEO, in that capacity, right? I'll take him. But my worry is he would be one of the people that defend Mikel Arteta. For example, if we wanted to sack Mikel, he would be defending him, and he has a big, big influence. So it's a little bit difficult to decide, right? People like Wenger, right? People like Wenger are good, right? They're good because they have that attachment. They have that level of attachment to the club, but at times they could, it could be really, really costly. How are you? How are you, John Daddy? How are you? Hope you're doing well. So, guys, much of the talk around the club this afternoon is around Kessie and Ramsdale and Arsene Wenger returning. Look, I love Wenger. I love him a lot. I love him as an Arsenal fan. Right, because you can't take anything away from his legacy as Arsenal manager. You can't take anything away. You can't take anything away, from his legacy. He's done it. He's achieved. He's really, he has really, really achieved. Really, really achieved. Maybe lastly, we could look at, Smith Rowe and his interview. Ahead of his call up. He was really called. He was called up for English national duty. So we could look at his interview. and I think it was put well by Sky. Okay, so Emil Smith Rowe, Arsenal midfielder, says England call up was a dream come true after after Wild One, or is it called Wild One or Wild One? 18 months. So Arsenal midfielder Emil Smith Rowe has been added to Gareth Southgate's squad for the first time ahead of England's upcoming World Cup qualifiers against Albania and San Marino. And Smith Rowe says it's definitely a dream come true. And he says, I didn't expect it. Now, the 21-year-old Arsenal midfielder has been added to Gareth Southgate's squad for the first time ahead of England's upcoming World Cup qualifiers against Albania and San Marino. He had initially been set to join up with the under-21s, but was brought in after Marcus Rashford, James Ward-Prowse, Mason Mount, and Luke Shaw did not report for international duty. Smith Rowe, who arrived at St. George's Park on Monday before training with his teammates, could not contain his excitement when speaking to the media on Tuesday afternoon. So he said, it's definitely a dream come true. I didn't expect it. He said, it's obviously I was planning to go with the under-21s, and I got a call the day before from Gareth saying saying I had been called up for the first team. It was a great moment for me and my family. He actually says, my mother was actually downstairs at the time. I was upstairs. I ran downstairs straight away and told her it was very it was very, very emotional. But they were so proud of me, and I couldn't wait to meet up with the squad. I was really nervous during my first training. To be honest, I was. It's always hard come. It's always hard coming in with the few players. It says obviously I play against these guys every week, but for England it's always different. After a while, I got used to it, but I was definitely nervous. I'm sure throughout the week I'll get into it and get more comfortable. Wearing the same training kit and passing the ball to each other. It's crazy to be alongside these players. It's a bit speechless. I'm a bit speechless, but I'm going to enjoy it as much as I can, right? And it says it's always difficult when everyone is talking about you and stuff, but it's good when when it is in a positive way. Smith Rowe also added, I'll try to look into it as much as I can. I'll try to stay as focused as much as I can, but but it's good that I'm getting these positive comments about me. And says it's unbelievable to be next to those names and great moments, but the most important thing was getting the 3 points on Sunday, right? So now, what have we said about Smith Rowe's call up in yesterday's early morning video? We said everything. His interview says it all. He's ecstatic, and he's made the club fans ecstatic. He's made us very, very happy. Look, the dilemma with Smith Rowe and his call up is, if he doesn't get the call up and stays with the under 21s, it doesn't take away anything. But the fact that he was called up, it actually legitimizes all the hard work he's done. Because for me, all players, and listen, I think I was watching Tom Canton at the Guna Talk, and I was saying that all players, if you want to be a great side, you're going to have international players. You're going to have international players. And all players want to play for their national team. There is no player, absolutely, that doesn't want to play for their national team. It's out of the picture. It's out of the picture. So Smith Rowe being called up, great call. Great call. And I'm really, really happy with it. Mohammed says, Cossy, which role could Kessie play? I think with Kessie, I don't know who compromises. But I think it would be sitting deep with Thomas Partey if we are going to play a 4-2-3-1. And if you're going to play a 4-4-2, he'll be playing with Thomas Partey in the midfield still, with Smith Rowe and Saka wider, and then two strikers ahead, or probably Odegaard ahead of them, and Aubameyang or any other striker. I think the good thing with Kessie is he gives you extra security, and he can, therefore you can use Martin Odegaard, right? You can use Martin Odegaard, very, very well. So definitely it would be a very, very, great call if we actually, added the body there. Akia says, I prefer Zakaria than Kessie. I'm Akia from Ntoroko, UG. Look, this is your opinion, and like, let me write down opinion. Look, with opinions, I respect them. I prefer Kessie than Zakaria. Guys, from the last 48 hours, now you know how much I rate Dennis Zakaria. Right? You know how much I rate Dennis Zakaria. But Kessie, look, I'm not going to say he's out of this world. What should I say? Look, he's Ivorian, and my problem is that if Afcon comes, he lives with Thomas Partey. That would be something that is not good. But still, look, either between Zakaria or Kessie, me, I'll go with with Kessie. And then Katumba says, I want Kessie, Arling, and the American Bayern Munich's right winger. The American Bayern Munich right winger. That is somewhere to put it. American. Who is that? America. Bayern's American right winger. Who is that? Are you saying Jamal Musiala? But look, Musiala is German. I've seen him. Which German player is American right winger? Is Coman? Coman is French. Who are you talking about? Serge Gnabry is German. Leroy Sané is German. I can't click. And it's surprising because I've been really following. I've followed Bayern for some time this season, and who is the guy? American. And I just feel like there is an American playing for Bayern. By the way, wow. Let me look through Bayern wingers and probably see who you're talking about. Bayern Munich wingers, and probably I see who you're talking about. I hope I can get the name. No, not Douglas Costa. Definitely, I don't know. Just provide more light. Just provide more light, because I can't really find. You have Julian Green. You have Chris Richards as well. Look, I've not really watched much football about many minutes about these guys. But if the player is decent, then definitely. Then Erling Haaland, it's all about triggering his release clause and then dealing with the madness of the agent Mino Raiola. I think, by the way, with Mino Raiola agents, it's more of it's very hard to nail it down with the agent than the player. It's very, very hard. So Raiola and the madness, I would prefer to keep, to stay, to keep it at a distance. But I would love Erling Haaland as well. And then Kessie, definitely. Hillary says, hi, Cossy. How are you doing, Hillary? Hope you're doing well. And then Koroma says, hi, Cossy. Thanks for the update and good work. Thank you so much for appreciating. That is, relieving if someone says thanks for the good work. And then Mohammed says, Cossy, Laka and Auba were out in January. What about a new striker? We've talked about the talk of a new striker on this channel for millions of times. And let's hope Arsenal will actually go for a new striker. Let's hope we'll actually get in a striker in the January transfer window. So guys, what else? Lucas says Erling Haaland not being good right now. He's injured. Come on. Haaland is injured this season. He's injured. It's saying he's not good. I mean, the games I've seen him in, he's been scoring. He's been scoring goals. So let's see how many goals he has already this season. Let's see how many goals he has this season, to see if there is some legitimacy that he's not good, right? So let's see. Champions League this season, 2 games, 1 goal. Okay. Where is the German Bundesliga? In the German Bundesliga this season, if you're saying he's not good, your facts are not correct because he's played 6 games only. He has scored 6 goals with 3 assists. So he has involved himself in 12 goals in 6 games. That means he has engaged himself in twice, he has engaged himself in more goals than the games he's actually scored, than the games he's played, twice the amount. He's if you're saying he's not good, then you're saying he's a beast. Maybe. Last season, 28 games, 27 goals. Last season, the season before that, 15 games, 13 goals. Come on. You can't say Erling Haaland is not good at the moment. You can't say that. Really, you can't say that. Lucas, you can't say that. Koroma says, yeah, we really need a striker and Zakaria type midfielder. By January. Thank you so much, Koroma. Akia says, Kessie and Partey all are slow and lose the ball around the box, but Zakaria is far better. Okay, I mean, I love the opinions. I really can't deny. I love the opinions. I love it when you guys do get into the debates. But I'm still skeptical about you people, about Kessie and Zakaria. I think we will do a comparison video. We'll do a debate video. Augustine says, I will take Kessie all day. I'll take Kessie all day as well. And Marvin says, I prefer Lokonga with Partey. Yeah. I mean, I think the partnership is good. I think the partnership is good. And what makes that partnership very, very good, what makes the partnership very, very good is the fact that one of them can afford to compromise. That's the good thing with them. So Mohamed says, Cossy, what happened to Van der Beek transfer? Because he's a good player, but United can't give him the chance. They can't give him the chance. They don't want to sell him to a rival as well. That's it. They can't give him the chance. They don't want to sell him to a rival, right? As well. That's it, Mohammed. Lucas says, who do you prefer most, Tavares or Tomiyasu? Look, both of them really play in they're fullbacks, but they play in different positions. Who am I impressed with more? I think I'm impressed with Nuno Tavares more, because with Tavares he's showing higher signs of becoming a player like Trent. I think he's wild, he's untamed as a talent, but if he gets to 25, 26, he can actually be one of the best fullbacks in the world. So I'm really impressed with him. I really love what he's doing there. At fullback. Yeah, I'm really impressed. I'm really impressed. Any other questions you guys have? Cossy, Katumba Geoffrey says, Cossy, the American guy is Giovanni Reina at Dortmund. Okay. Look, you said Bayern. Maybe you're trying. You should have said BVB. Okay. Koroma says Smith Rowe, player of the month. I might not disagree. With you. So look, Giovanni Reina. I've watched Reina, and I think he's also struggling with an injury at the moment. Dortmund are really struggling with injuries, but there's so many players I would take from Dortmund. The captain, Marco Reus, one of them. One player that never disappoints, always delivers. Erling Haaland, Schuadel, Giovanni Reina, ecstatic to watch as well. I think Dortmund are a little bit unlucky with the Giovanni Reina injury, because with Sancho now being out, yes, they have a couple of options in Thorgan Hazard and a couple of players to actually fill the void. But I feel like as they still wait for Daniel Malen, the player who's supposed to replace Jadon Sancho, as they still wait for Malen to mature, Giovanni Reina was going to provide just that. So just think about Bellingham, Reina, and then Thorgan Hazard, and then Julian Brandt, who I think this season, after the manager telling him that you need to perform, You need to provide more. I think he's actually, stepped up his game. He's actually doing well. Actually, I still remember, after the caution, the game that followed that, he did score the winner, in the game. So, there's so many players I would take from Dortmund. But if you bring in a player like Giovanni Reina, it creates competition for Bukayo Saka, which is good enough. But I think Reina is not bench material. Saka at the moment isn't bench material. What do you do with that? I think to get an understudy to Saka is going to be one of the difficult things. Very, very difficult. I think we'd rather bring in a versatile player who can play both on the right and on the left, and as well as probably as a striker. I think, look, if we get a player like, I was going to say Solomon London, is one of the players I don't like in the Premier League. If I was to make my list of players I don't like in the Premier League, Solomon Rondon would be one of them. Right? And it is surprising that I actually rated him some years ago when he was at West Brom. I rated him. But the guy is called Maina Solomon, right? The guy is called Maina Solomon. So if you brought in a player like Maina Solomon, can work off the wings and can also be your number 10, I think that would be good business. But at the moment, Giovanni Reina, Dortmund do sell, and I won't be surprised if they decided to sell him as well. Okay. Then Koroma says Smith Rowe, player of the month. Lucas says, what do you think is Tierney's future? Look, at the moment, I'm not worried. Yeah, there are concerns. There are calls for concern. There are concerns. There are concerns. There are calls for concern. There are concerns. There are calls for concerns. There are concerns. But at the moment, I'm not worried. I'm not really worried. Because, look, like I said, Nuno Tavares is untamed talent. He's untamed talent. There's a lot that he has to do. There's a lot that he has to work on. And some of the things he has to work on, Tierney has worked on. Tierney is not is not a finished article. But if you look at his crossing, if you look at the rate at which he crosses the ball, if you look at his game reading, if you look at his character, attitude, passion, and what he brings, to the side in terms of general environment, then you're not worried about Nuno Tavares. My worry with Tierney is his injury-prone record. If he keeps on getting injury-prone, if he keeps on getting the injuries, he's gonna drop out of favor, right? He's gonna drop out of favor, and that is my only problem. But away from that, I really don't think. I really don't think. It's something to be frightened of, really. Okay, and then Marvin says, "Hi. What about Lautaro Martinez transfer, Cossy?" Now, with Lautaro Martinez transfer, I did provide an update yesterday in the early morning video, and I said Arsenal still do want to get him. Look, Lautaro Martinez, January transfer window, it's out of the picture. Out of the picture, snap out of it. But in the summer, if Arsenal decide to spend big, maybe. Right at the moment, the player that is being believed to be leading the rest to join Arsenal as a new striker, surprisingly, is Calvert-Dominic Lewin, DCL. Dominic Calvert-Lewin. That is the player that Arsenal are prioritizing together with Dusan Vlahovic. Those are, according to the latest links, those are the two players that we are, prioritizing. With Lautaro Martinez signing a new contract at Inter Milan, it's not that easy. If he gets that contract signed, because Romano has said after Nico Barella, then Lautaro Martinez will actually pen down his contract. It's not that easy. It's not going to be that easy, really. But look, let's wait and see what could happen. Maybe the cat could just jump out of the basket. Augustine says, Zakaria is good, but Kessie is better. So any of them could help us. Hillary says, Cossy, where is that striker we bought from the championship? The boy is playing with the under 23s, right? I said it. Look, I said it when we signed him, and that was in June, July. I remember, and I said it that. One for the future, right? One for the future. There are a couple of players that could break through the Arsenal side, but look, it's not going to be that easy. Now with Balogun still struggling to find game time, is a good striker. We know that. The rest of the young strikers, they are going to find they're not going to find it easy to break through the side. But he's playing with the under 23s, and we hope he can. We hope he can actually break through to the first team. All right. Mohammed says, Cossy, all Arsenal new signings are good, but we need one CDM, one DCM, defensive central midfielder, and a striker. Thank you so much, Mohammed. Captain Nemo says, what really do you think about Kessie really to sign, for Arsenal? My opinion, has been very clear and doesn't change. January, snap out of it. Summer, maybe summer, because the best we can do at the moment is tie him down to a contract in January and bring him, for free in the summer. That one can work. But if you're talking about getting him from AC Milan in January, Milan will be crazy. I'll call them the craziest club in the world. Right. So Augustine says, but to help us remain in the top 5 at the end of January, I will take Zakaria since Kessie will not be available due to AFCON, definitely as well. And then Joffrey says, Giovanni Reina more plays at the left. But look, I think for me, look, this is me. But even with Saka, I feel like players are even better when they play as inverted wingers, right? As inverted wingers. Look, at the moment, Smith Rowe is playing on the left hand of the, on the left side of the pitch, but you could easily integrate him as a number 10, and bring in Giovanni Reina, right? But at the moment, you are still also struggling to find, Gabriel Martinelli some playing time. So it's not that easy. And I don't see him as a priority, really. But thank you so much, Geoffrey. And Chris says, what about Declan Rice? Come on. Let's. I'm going to talk about Declan Rice just in a minute, right? Just in a minute. Roger Braka says, Tavares is a talent. He dribbles well and attacks. Yeah, he's a talent, but raw talent. If we can work on him, he's going to be a super talent. Do you think that we need Lamptey? This is Godfrey. I'm going to talk about that as well. What about Madison transfer? That's according to Marvin. And then Captain Nemo says, Kessie will be free in the summer, and I suppose Milan fans will not accept another free player going out of their club like Donnarumma. Apart from Donnarumma, also you could add Hakan Calhanoglu, who was actually doing well with them. So let me try to answer. Let me try to react to some of your comments. Look, free in the summer, Milan have, if we have 370 days in a year, so that means for 6 months, how many days are those? Probably what? 170, 180 days. So they have around 100, they have between 150 to 170, 190 days to deal with this contract madness. If they can get him to sign a new contract, look, if he doesn't want to stay, Milan could be gentlemen, tell him, please sign a new contract and we will sell you for some decent amount of money, right? Because he's a good player, clubs will sign him. But there is no player who doesn't want to stay at a club who is going to sign a new contract. Players want to live on a free to get higher sign-on fees. I said that in the morning with Dusan Vlahovic. And also to get higher wages. I still said that in the morning when I was talking about the likes of Zakaria. So the moment AC failed to get him to sign a new contract, they're losing him on a free, whether they want it or not. And I think, look, they're like Arsenal. They're really doing poorly when it comes to extending players' contract. They're really doing poorly. Okay. And then Marvin, you've asked about James Maddison. Now, with James Maddison, January transfer window, out of it. We might try again maybe in the summer. But look, with James Maddison at the moment, I think it was a point of either Maddison or Odegaard, and we chose Odegaard. So it's going to be very, very difficult for us to go for James Maddison yet again. Do you think we need Lamptey? Lamptey is a very, very good player, but can he work because what we need is an understudy to and understudy to Tomiyasu. So you need someone in the profile of Nuno Tavares. Is Lamptey in the profile of Nuno Tavares? I think he's left that stage. I think he's actually ready to perform on a big stage. Tavares is a talent. He dribbles well and dribbles well and attacks well. Okay, so I've actually answered that. What about Declan Rice? Okay, this is one that got me really excited. The question: what about Declan Rice? 100 million? Is Arsenal going to pay 100 million for Declan Rice? I doubt that. Would I take Declan Rice to Arsenal? Wouldn't. Wouldn't. I've seen people say, "Oh, he's overrated. Oh, he's not the player." Look, come on, guys. We know the quality of Declan Rice. We know we've seen him at England, consistent. We've seen him at West Ham this season, last season, consistent. He's a good player. And for me, what I like about him is he keeps it so simple. I just love those kind of players, the likes of Jadon Henderson, right? He's not world class. Don't get me wrong. He's not world class. But they keep it simple. They just keep it simple. The likes of Calvin Phillips. They keep it simple. So I'll take Declan Rice all day long, but he's expensive, and Arsenal can't afford to really pay 100 million for for him. All right. Could we try Nkuku in the summer as our left wing? My God. Yeah. Okay, Chris, I'm going to answer that, and then Rajab says, Cossy, talk about William Saliba. We need him at Arsenal. And then Captain Nem says, what do you think about the speech of Emre about, that he wanted Zaha, but we got Pepe? Like, I mean, did he actually, did the Arsenal board, did they have hope in Unai Emery? So let me start with Christopher Nkuku. Look, what a job is doing there at RB Leipzig. Look, if you're a Manchester City fan, I have one close to me. They know the class of Christopher Nkuku. They know. Okay, let's look at the stats of the lad Nkuku, right? Because he's been very, very exciting this season. Now, for Leipzig this season, in the Bundesliga, he's played 11 games, 5 goals, 8 assists. So he's engaged in 8 goals this season in 11 games in the Bundesliga. However, in the Champions League, he's played 4 games and scored 5 times. 3 of the goals did come against Manchester City, and we know how good Ruben Diaz is. But look, yes, probably we could try Nkuku in the summer. We could, and I would love to see Arsenal now step up our game. Josh Kroenke spoke about it, and he said that the best players in the world want to play in the best leagues. So probably if we can go back to Europa League or Champions League, we can start fighting for the likes of Nkuku. But for Nkuku, I won't be surprised if Bayern take him. I won't be surprised if Barcelona or Madrid take him, or PSG. I won't be surprised if City go for him, and I won't be surprised if Liverpool go for him, because that is his level now. He's so good. He's very, very good. So probably in the summer we could try. We could try Nkuku. Okay. And then Kisa say, talk about Noah Lang. Look, with Noah Lang, the talks have been there. He's been linked with Arsenal, and he's a very, very good player. Very good player. But look, January transfer window, Arsenal going for a winger, especially Noah Lang, maybe in the summer. So with Noah Lang, exciting player, but maybe in the summer. Great work is doing there in Netherlands, but maybe in the summer. I don't see him join us in January as well. And then Roger Bracker told me to talk about William Saliba. With Willie, I spoke about, when did I speak about William Saliba? I think it was yesterday in the evening show at 9 p.m. And I said that the interesting thing with William Saliba is he's done well on every stage he's been on for the past 3 years. Talented, the Mbappe of centre backs, things like that. Yeah, but look, the question is, the big question is, are we going to force him to play in a back 3? Are we going to use him in how are we going to use him? And that is the thing I was actually talking about. But look, Saliba needs to come back to Arsenal. He's the perfect cover. Sell Rob Holding, bring in William Saliba. You have a perfect cover for your defensive partnership. And then Chris says, what about Sergio Roberto as a backup and extra depth and experience in midfield? Sergio Roberto is talented, by the way. Sergio Roberto is talented. But with Xavi now, new Barcelona manager, it's gonna take time because Barcelona in a very difficult position. They find themselves stuck between a hard place and a rock. They cannot release players for fun, but they also need to release some players in order to recruit. So Sergio Roberto is a good player. One good thing is that at right back, he can be cover and he can also bring that extra extra pedigree in the midfield. So probably if you ask me about Sergio Roberto, I'll take him. Yeah, I'll take Sergio Roberto. No problems with him. Yeah, I'll take him. I'll definitely take him. So Captain Nemo asked me about about the board and how they brought in Pepe instead of Zaha. I don't know who was doing business by then. I don't know who was doing those decisions by then, but it was clearly Lem. Yeah, it was clearly Lem. Leaving a player who was shining in the Premier League to sign a 72 million. Look, and I think the reason was Crystal Palace were going to ask for more money up front than Lille, because Lille asked for 72 million to be paid across a period of 5 years. So 72 million across 5 years, how much money is that per year? How much money? If you do the mathematics, that is less than 20 million per year, right? That's less than 20 million per year. That's actually less than 17 million per year, isn't it? Yeah, probably. So I think that's the reason. Pay for it, make it look expensive, but actually pay very, very little money across a big period of time. I mean, in a business sense, it makes sense. In a footballing sense, it doesn't make sense. Really, doesn't make any sense for me. And then Nkuku is not a bad player, but we have Odegaard, who is attacking midfielder. Smith Rowe also, but can play as but can play. What's that? Left midfield? I think you're saying he can play left midfield. Nkuku, another attacking midfielder, could be more. Could be more for me. That's according to Captain Nemo. And then Mohammed says, Cossy, if Partey left for AFCON in January, Maitland-Niles can play the role with Lokonga. For how long? Right? For how long? And what kind of games do we have in January? Because you have to put all those things into consideration, right? So let me tell you this. December, our games are really fixed, but I don't care. I really don't care about having difficult many games. On the 1st of January, we'll play Manchester City. On the 1st of January, we're playing Manchester City. 16th January, is there an international break there? Yeah, it looks like there is an international break there, because this is a period of 2 weeks again. 16th January, we are playing Tottenham. 22nd January, we're playing Burnley. So we have 3 games. We only have 3 games in January, right? And then you have Wolves coming up and Chelsea starting February. I don't know why our games are very, very scanty in February, because in February, we have Wolves on 8th, and then we have Chelsea on the 22nd. Well, no. Yeah. No. We have Wolves on 8th, and then we have Chelsea. Actually, 8th, and 4 days later, we play Chelsea, right? And then 4 days again later, we play Brentford. So actually, our games are not scanty in February; they are compact. And remember, Africa is one of those zones where when you fly in from Africa into Europe, you might have to quarantine for 14 days, right? So can Ainsley do the job against Manchester City on the 1st of January, 15:30? I don't know. Can he do the job against Tottenham? I don't know. Yes, he can do it against Burnley. Yes, he can do it against Wolves. So probably yes, probably no. All right. There's so many comments, and I would love to get all your opinions, people. Okay. Bernard says on centre back situation, let's bring in Saliba. Absolutely, absolutely agree with you, Bernard. Chris says Luka Jovic on loan in Jan. That would work. That would work, and I think Arsenal will be exploring a deal along those lines. Captain Nemo says, Cossy, what about Genduzi? Do you want him to stay, or will you get rid of him? No. If he's going to be backup to the midfielders, let him stay. If he's going to fight for, if he's going to start all this stalking like he was doing when he left, let him stay at Marseille. Victor says, Cossy, we have players like Noah Lang, Dusan Vlahovic, Luka Jovic among them. Which player are we targeting? At the moment, all of them. That's all I can say. At the moment, all of them have been linked with Arsenal. And then Daniel says, bro, if we sign one world-class defensive midfielder and one class striker, hopefully we can fight for the title. Guys, I mean, talking Arsenal is never one of those things that can can ever end. But look, I'm going to be joining you, and please do join me at 9 p.m. We'll be speaking all about Dusan Vlahovic and more of the evening Arsenal transfer news and news in general. Make sure you smash a like on the video. Thanks everybody for doing that. I'll speak to you in a while.